we have lots of incredible species like woods nettle. Woods nettle and wild ginseng are my two favorite plants, although I have many others. We have bloodroot, we have trilliums, we have Solomon seal. We have, so many things that just grow naturally here. And honestly, we've been so broke, I haven't really ever been able to like invest in a bunch of plants to grow here. But instead, it has been amazing watching this place year after year and learning ramps. Yes, we do. And so just kind of watching it year in and year out in the different seasons and, like being like, ooh, I wonder what this plant is, and looking it up and just being like, whoa, check that out. It's like, what can I use this for? It's like, how many things are edible? We have, get this is kind of fun. This is like a little known traditional Appalachian plant is a branch lettuce, or branch lettuce, as they like to say.
I've heard of the branch lettuce.
So it's in the saxifrage family. It grows in and on our creek. It needs like constant running water, and it's kind of the old timey recipe is called kilt lettuce. And so what you do is you take this, you harvest it only in the early spring. You make a big pile and you take hot bacon grease and toss the stuff in it, and it wilts it. And I have to admit, it's very tasty.
Bacon grease.
I know, bacon grease. I was like, I'm saying this to Asheville.
Unless you're a vegetarian.
Yes, obviously.
So you probably not for you, but yes.
Warm olive oil or something. But yes,
yeah.
So, kind of exploring kind of like that old-timey cuisine. And another thing I'm really into is sansai. And sansai is Japanese mountain vegetables. They're purely wild harvested every spring. And it's kind of almost like its own little cult going on in certain places of the world. But, sansai also kind of, expanding to like Chinese wild crafting of some amazing plants that they have over there. I've started watching this YouTube channel called Lizishi. And she's amazing. And one of the things she does is she goes out and she carefully harvests like wild mushrooms and, like plants in different stages and buds, and steams them. And, like all of this amazing kind of wild cuisine that is incredibly inspirational. So, and like almost so inspirational, it's painful to watch, kind of inspirational. But yeah, she's amazing. And so, one of the things that we have planted here is wasabi japonica. So it is not a Native American herb.
I don't think I've ever seen it except in its like mushy green blobness.
Exactly. Well, that is how it is known. International renowned mushy green blobness.
Exactly.
And so Joe Hollis, he was one of the first people in America to grow wasabi in a cold mountain creek that never dries out. And it just so happens that we have like the perfect place to grow it. And it's kind of like watercress. It's right in the same family. Actually, they're very closely related. I mean, like wasabi is basically Japanese watercress. Heather, that's amazing. Yeah, I bet. I mean, maybe East Tennessee definitely has a tradition of things like that, and ramps, certainly.
I think it's very similar. I mean, I feel like from Heather's like conversations, like I think that like it's pretty similar to. I mean, I don't think she's in necessarily the mountains, but she might. Lots of wasabi sold in the U.S. is dyed green horseradish. Well, that I did not know that, Heather.
So real wasabi is rare. It's very rare and very expensive. It's usually only available commercially as like a dry powder that you reconstitute in order to have it, like, with your with your sushi, but or raw fish, but so yeah, so that's definitely a fact. And the reason why is because it's so hard to grow. It has to have extremely specific like growing requirements, and those specific growing requirements are that it has to be in a very cold creek all year round and grow in gravel, and it kind of has like mildew issues, and if you don't make your beds the right way and space them out, and then as with anything that grows in a creek, flooding can be a problem. So I mean, there's definitely some interesting factors, but they have been doing research on wasabi in Western North Carolina, and Janine Davis of the North Carolina State University Extension Agency. Her website, I think it's ncherb.org. ncherb.org kind of talks about that. I think they've done some studies with that in Western North Carolina. And I think there's a handful of other people who grow wasabi. But because it takes like 8 years, like ginseng, to grow a decent fruit, we're just doing seeds and doing like leaf garnishes right now. But you know what? The leaves are really tasty. Really tasty.
Are they also kind of spicy?
Peppery. Yes, they're peppery, but they have a wonderful spiciness. It's kind of like almost sweet, and it's not anything like the horseradish that you have like in a restaurant. But yeah, I mean, if I may go off on another momentary tangent, the reason why wasabi was decided upon in ancient Japan, and probably Japan, to accompany things like raw fish is that the compounds in horseradish kind of counteract things that could possibly make you ill, like raw fish or E. coli and things like that. And so this culinary kind of relationship has developed over all of these years, kind of, like raw meat and raw fish. And, it's like mustard. Mustard is a condiment, that's maybe our Western version. But, wasabi was a condiment kind of developed to go hand in hand, not only because it tasted good with sashimi and raw fish, but, because it actually had a purpose. And which is kind of interesting, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, because it definitely seems like a lot of the foods that we sort of eat, just especially these days, sort of have less relevance in any way to anything. Like, we don't have to eat by the seasons anymore. It's divorced from there. It's sort of just all over the place. And then, I think a lot of people are so busy that like it's hard to even like sit down and kind of notice what you're eating. And